Hey everyone, welcome back to another One More Podcast. My name is Yuval, and I've got Blake with me, and we're here to talk about something really interesting and something that might make people irritated, and something that might make people's heads explode. Not really, but we have a quote-unquote unpopular opinion that I've stolen from the internet. And actually, we'll give a shout out to the user, might as well. Zinky30, here's the username right there. It is an unpopular opinion of sorts. I think it's very interesting because I sort of share this similar sentiments to this opinion. I think that there's a lot to be said about it in regards to like today's day and age. Because I think with something to be said to preface this, in the modern age, everything is so fast. Just it's instant speeds. Sure, it's not as instant in some areas of the world comparatively, but generally, if you live in a nice area and there's infrastructure and there's technology and there's all that good stuff,
we're moving.
You've got fast speeds and you've got the sources of technology and the electricity to pump out everything like that. So information, conversation, exploration, navigation, incubation,
all the other
or extraordination, all of that can be done at an instant, without one, delaying gratification. Mm-hmm. I think that is something, and we'll get to it in a little bit, that there's just kind of the subject of delaying gratification as a whole. But it's all relevant. So what am I talking about? I'm just talking in circles. There's nothing wrong with wanting to live a quiet, mediocre life. I feel as if everyone is under pressure to always climb the ladder at work, do exciting things like travel around the world or go skydiving, or push yourself to just do better. I would also add to be better. Well, there's nothing wrong with wanting a quiet, simple life. There's nothing wrong with preferring to stay as wherever you are, just as long as you're happy with it. I'm tired of feeling as if I'm not always striving to better myself, that there should be something wrong with me. Anyone else feel the same? I should be able to sit home, relax for vacation without people looking down on me for it. Wow, I butchered that. Sorry. So, the basic premise that I'm getting from this is nothing is wrong with wanting to live a quiet hobbit life.
I'm not getting that.
What are you getting from this?
I can understand why that is a theme that can be taken away from this.
How stupid people can understand it?
No. I see that as wanting to be content with where you are.
Okay.
And I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem arises where content meets complacency, and you're content with complacency.
Okay.
And that's where I veer off that path.
So
I don't understand the harm in I also don't understand where those pressures are coming from.
Wait, so you don't understand the harm of being complacent?
No, I completely. That's my point.
Okay,
I don't understand the harm in bettering yourself in whatever field you want.
Okay,
And I also don't know where those pressures are coming from.
I think external and society factors, and probably like interpersonal relationships, like family and stuff. But So let's break this down a little bit. Right. So bettering yourself. Classify what you think it means to better yourself.
Okay. Grow mentally, physically, spiritually, and I guess your intelligence. So,
doing training yourself, learning something, being spiritual. Would you say spending time with family and spending time with others and like being sociable and kind of partaking in that sort of interaction?
Unless you're an introvert, and that's fine.
Fair, okay.
But there are still other avenues that you can take to better yourself.
Mm-hmm. And so how much, I guess, and because that's always the biggest, and one of the biggest things I've kind of contemplated as of recent is to what standard should I hold myself of being better? Like, is it doing the dishes as soon as they're done? Is it going and reading a book? Is it going outside and exercising more? Like, to what avenue and what extent and how much is bettering yourself? And I don't know. Do you have? What do you think?
Well, you need to have goals.
Okay,
that's step one.
Okay,
and that's for everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to have goals. Everybody needs to strive for something better, because if you don't, then it's not good for you to not to not better yourself. That's why you need a purpose, and whether that's a self-fulfilling purpose or if it's something that you create for yourself, not a purpose, some divine purpose, but something that you create for yourself, that's good for you. That's why we see men when they retire, white men specifically, their suicide rate is off the charts because they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
There's no purpose involved.
So, well then, I mean, how do we measure purpose? Because like
case by case.
Well, so I think there is a super big stigma in I think developed technologically infused societies that the more menial labor and the more physically heavy induced jobs are not necessarily desired. They're not unwanted. They're definitely critical and crucial for functioning. There are people that okay, that's fair. I mean, I don't necessarily want to point fingers. Blake is rude and mean. That's fine.
Well, no. So trade school enrollments are plummeting.
Well, but that's the thing,
demand
though.
for those jobs are still high.
Exactly, and so
unwanted by people that want those jobs. Not society unwants those jobs. Is that what you were saying?
Kind of, sort of, but it's an interesting relation. It's not like a stereotypical job where you want to. It's not like an office job where you can get work up the corporate ladder. Everyone's shooting for that. Any kind of career, everyone's looking for promotion. I think you can safely say if you want to be fulfilled and have this lifelong satisfaction, you're trying to work towards that promotion. And I think
this person.
Well, right, exactly. So going back to my original point, which. What was my original point? Original point was we were talking about needing
to have goals,
right? Oh, okay.
It's good for you.
So in regard, thank you. So in regards to specifically, if you set your goals compared to what society thinks you should set your goals to be,
I set my goals for what society wants my goals to be? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, and like more specifically, like do you not feel like? Do you not? Because I say to myself, I guess the best example I should say is whenever I think of like, oh, should I do this, or oh, this might be an interesting thing to do, my brain will sometimes say, oh no, that's stupid. That's not gonna work. It's not accepted, or it's too much of a risk, or whatever. Based on the environmental factors, i.e., society, your parental upbringing, whatever it is. Do you feel like? Because I feel like a lot of people, because no one. I don't think anyone, goes to their kid, hey, you're gonna be the best janitor in the entire world. I want you to. Sweep the halls of the White House or something. I don't know. But because we have a push towards the more, do you think it starts at the parental level then? Well,
yeah. So you need to, at a parental level, you need to set discipline and the want to be better, and you need to instill that in your children.
Do you think if there's a lack, then the children by default won't? They'll just be burnout bums.
No, some kids gain a weird sense of discipline without that. Look at every interview after an NFL game where it's like, yeah, I had a single mom, nobody, I was on the streets, and now they're millionaires. Where did that discipline become? Where did that come from?
And I don't have necessarily the specific facts on this, because I don't know how you can do facts on this, but like I feel like for the most part, no matter what you're up. Well, okay, I'll clarify. Not specifically no matter what your upbringing, but I think a lot of I'm like trying to discredit myself or disprove myself. I was just gonna say in regards to that, because I feel like kids learn the rules of society, and there still needs to be some type of figure there, because without a parental figure, without some type of it doesn't even necessarily have, because they could even learn it from like celebrities. They could see
athletes
watch on TV.
Our future athletes have current athletes posters on their wall.
Yeah. So and I guess those are kind of how they base themselves off of, because they're able to look towards these other athletes or celebrities or whomever. But then even then, what if they didn't have those? Do you think those kids would grow up to be super athletes if they were just aimlessly towards life? I think so.
You think they would still become super athletes?
No, I don't think that. Like, I think they will continue aimlessly.
Well, I mean, we can see that with college kids that don't have good enough grades or don't graduate, and then they don't get drafted into the sport of their choice.
Yeah.
Not good things aren't coming for you. Mm-hmm. And that's a product of not having the parental installation of drive and not being content with complacency.
How was it for you? Did you were pushed to do like every single sport? Because I was not a kid. Oh, sorry to interrupt. It was always like, I think I did soccer, football, baseball. I did some water sports. And I think partially it's because I was interested in doing them, but I was definitely exposed to a lot. So how was it? I asked you the question, but then I answered it myself.
I was taught that. So at one point I was playing baseball my whole life. And then about halfway through, I guess right after Little League, I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm sick of it. My dad's the coach. I don't like my dad being the coach. He's really hard on me. I want to do something else. But my parents said, no, you're going to finish the season.
Oh, okay.
And then I went and played football.
Yeah.
For 2 or 3 years. But
do you think that impacted your drive or to do anything, or?
Yeah, I had to finish what I started.
Okay.
Which
you sort of bought that.
It may not have gone well in school, but I think part of that is because school isn't meant for every single kid.
Yeah.
But in terms of just finishing something that you start is such a crucial lesson that you have to learn. It's integral to being successful.
So then tying it back to the original question about wanting to live a quiet, mediocre life, would you think that lack of responsibility or that lack of upbringing, that, the essential foundation, leads to this kind of life? And so is it now that we're trying to, as society, cope with it and accept it, that, hey, we have these people that didn't make it, I mean, and even then I'm putting on this guy that he made, because this guy could be a potential genius and he could have all sorts of
he could,
right, but he's just sitting on his butt. So who are we to?
Well, close your eyes and think of the smartest, hardworking person you know.
Yeah. I don't know.
What are the qualities of that person? What are the qualities of that person?
Yeah, definitely insane and driven and hyper focused, and I think you have to be a little autistic and like
maybe.
I think
greatest athletes in the world may disagree.
Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, I think they all have some type of, because they're and I don't know, and maybe I'm just a crappy human being and I just have the worst attention span ever. But there's a point in time where it's like, once that 8th hour at work, I'm like, oh, it's winding down time. It's time. But they're on 24/7.
They're driven by a need to be the best, be better.
So do you think that's common in everybody, or do you think that's like
it's not?
Okay.
Because it's not instilled in everybody.
Okay.
There are people that are separate, and we all know these people. We all know these people that no matter what, they are going to accomplish what they want to accomplish, and there's nothing that's going to stop them.
Yeah.
They are so driven that nothing will get in their way. Sometimes it leads to, bad outcomes, right? So, I mean, I'm sure the divorce that Jeff Bezos had may have something to do with him working 100 hours a week.
Probably, yeah.
That may have something to do with it. There are costs, but these megalomaniacs, these incredible athletes, these named the most successful blah blah blah, they don't take no for an answer. They will fail a million times and they don't stop going because they have a goal.
So then what's your beef about people wanting to not do that?
Because it's good for you, even at the very micro level. So these geniuses and these billionaires, that's a very global level of their success.
Okay.
But even at the macro level or the micro level of set a goal to read a book a week, it's good for you. If you sit on your ass and don't push yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, or physically, you're going to deteriorate. That's not how we're wired.
Fair.
Some people may not have discipline instilled, but we are still wired to do something. And if we don't have that, then we disintegrate, we deteriorate, and it's sad. It's sad to see wasted potential. It's kind of like the whole, anytime you watch a rehab show or whatever, it's like, oh, this person wasted their life by doing something like that.
Well, so that, and that's where I'm conflicted with, because we have, I think, as human beings, we have a responsibility to ourselves to be happy.
Yes.
No matter what.
It's an obligation.
I think for us to be given life and for us to be granted whatever, and even if you don't have everything in life and you're still missing it, I think, it is definitely important for you to try and enjoy, because there's no point in being miserable and alive.
No.
That's why people kill themselves. Because they don't find an escape, and there's no way to calm the storm inside of their brain, and that's their escape. And so when you unlock the formula and you figure it out, like for me, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like I'm found a pretty good pace for myself about a balance of work and doing things that I want to do outside of work, personal hobbies, whatever passions that I have. But I can definitely see, in the grand scheme of things, the way I do the day-to-day, the 9-to-5 job, the repeat the cycle, is not pushing myself, and not because I'm not staying up late. I'm not staying up late till 11 or 12 or 1 in the morning thinking of these new things and writing down whatever, coming up with sketch ideas. And because I have a whole bucket list of stuff that I'm like, oh, I'll get to it. I want to do it. It's not something that I'm dreading, but just currently the way that things flow, I wouldn't say I'm complacent and because my apartment is clean and I go out and I visit family and I have all other sorts of responsibilities that I take part of, but I don't need to be the next CEO.
No, and no, not everyone will be, of course. That's why I said you need to grow on the very micro level. So just anything. So if your hobby is video games and you like to play video games and you're still taking care of responsibilities outside that, and you're passionate about video games, you're whether you like it or not, you're getting better at these games. You may have a goal in that game. And I don't dog anybody for having a goal like that. As long as your responsibilities to yourself, your family, and to your boss and your other coworkers are met.
So, you're not showing up late, and you're not, bailing on friends, and you're not, all sorts of, you're letting external factors, fall by the wayside,
right,
while you're just focusing on yourself. So I guess, so as long as because then that's the other thing, and then kind of following into delaying of gratification. But I guess it's almost a conversation of how selfish can you be, because I think by nature, a lot of people want to just sit on their butts and do nothing. That's just by nature. Everyone, it's really interesting to think about it, because it's so true, even though it's not really, you don't think about it for humans, but humans have natures. Just like animals have different natures. Some are timid, some are aggressive, some are playful, some are whatever. Humans have the same exact thing. We're not as generalized as just, oh, I'm dopey, I'm grouchy, nothing like that. But I think there's a large majority of people that would prefer to do the lazy thing and exert less force to do things the way they want to. And it's a conversation of okay, well, how much of that can I do? How much of that, self glorification, that self I'm trying to say gratification, but gratification. Thank you. I don't know why I'm thinking gratification. Self gratification, and to what extent then it's okay, now I have to stop. Because it's at 9:00 or something, I need to start getting ready for bed, or I need to start winding down. But I could do it for 7 more hours or whatever, and that's the constant conversation a lot of people have. I think, I don't know, I could be totally generalizing everyone as a dopey or a grumpy, but
I think I can basically sum up where I'm coming from with just this simple statement.
Sum it up.
The worst advice you can give a person is telling them that they are perfect just the way they are.
That's fair.
Because no one has reached the pinnacle at perfection. Never. And I learned that from my dad whenever he would give evaluations at his job.
Yeah.
No one's getting a 5.
Oh yeah.
Nobody. Because no one is perfect.
There's
there's
even then,
always room to grow
or for improvement. Yes.
Right. So if
everyone's got an opinion. They're like buttholes. Everyone's got one, and they all stink. I said it out of order, but whatever.
This is for the punchline, dude.
Yeah, I know. I ruined it.
Yeah, I feel sorry for this person.
I don't feel sorry, because honestly, if this person is genuinely happy and doesn't have any regrets in life, Sure, I think it might be excessive to just sit on your butt for 50 years and do nothing. I think, and that is also, I think, is kind of striking a balance between when you get bored, because I think everyone will get bored eventually of something. Mm-hmm. They just, whatever their monotonous cycle is, whatever their passion is, they're going to figure out something, and it's not going to be fun, or maybe it will be fun forever. But I think a lot of people will suffer from this, like, okay, I don't like where my life is. I want to change it. How they interpret it and how they react to it. Well, we've got midlife crises. We have people who kill themselves. We have people who have breakdowns. We have normal people who try and just deal with it day to day. We have, I don't know.
People that become better and respond positively to it.
There are multiple outcomes that can happen when you're faced with this like staleness in life. And so I think if you approach that with a positive attitude, and if you approach that with a let's do something about it while still being lazy and doing whatever, and if it's like, oh, I don't like where I'm at right now, let's move and change locations. If you have a job that allows you to move, then go for it. Move, and then just don't do anything in your new moved location. But I think it's when you're like this and then you're latching onto others and you're affecting other people, and it's like, well, now you're just being a butt.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Our time on this planet is finite, and I don't like the idea of wasting that and being complacent. That's detrimental. It's almost an insult to the time that we have. You're trivializing it. You're not treating it like what it actually is. You're not aware that our time is finite, and so I'm just going to sit on my ass and not do anything. And if that's how you want to spend the rest of your life, I genuinely feel sorry for you, because
Will you be friends with that person? Could you be friends with that person?
You are who you surround yourself with.
Fair. That is very true. That was something I think I should have been more aware of growing up, was the people I associated with, and I was very conscious of it in high school specifically. I was like, okay, I know these are, and not to like sound like a total a-hole, but I know these people are not smart, and I know these people are cool to hang out with, but if I keep hanging out with them, then I'll probably not feel the need to push myself. And because like that's the thing, and I forget who said it specifically, but there was a guy who was like, you should be or I could be totally paraphrasing or butchering it, but it's something about like you should hope to be the stupidest person in the room, because that's when you can learn the most. Right. Because if you surround yourself with people who are very smart and they are driven and whatever, then some of that's going to rub off on you. Yeah. Hopefully, or that's the intention. I mean, that's what you'd want. I mean, if it doesn't stick and they're just all buttholes to you and nothing good happens, then you'd want to leave. Right. You want to leave Uval. You want to leave 7th grade. You want to... I'm just kidding.
Golly, that was early. I don't know. I like to look at myself whenever I'm doing something lazy and I know I shouldn't. It's like, what does 30-year-old Blake with a wife and 2 kids and a mortgage thinking about current Blake sitting on his ass?
Yeah. And then it's like, because then it's like you want to have the expression, make the memories or whatever. You want to, because... And I will say, I do have some very fond memories of, going traveling and doing, there's a reason why people do it. I mean, it's fun and it's exhilarating and all that good stuff. And I think, others can get satisfaction in other ways. And I guess that's also the thing, because we have different natures. What makes a memory for you? What makes what makes a moment worth it? Well, someone who was watching a 10-hour Vine compilation at 2 a.m, laughing their butt off, could tell that story to their friends, and his friends could think it's funny, and they could all go and watch Vine compilations at 2 a.m, and that could be a tradition or something. Who knows?
Sure.
But that's their nature, and that's what it is. And if that brings them joy, what if they said that betters themselves? Would you be okay with that, or would you?
I would be completely skeptical. How is that bettering yourself? Are you creating new art and that's inspiring you? Then fine.
Okay.
But if you're if you're
justification to goof around just to goof around is,
well, no, you need to let off steam. But if you're, I can't see myself laying in bed watching a 10-hour Vine compilation and being satisfied at the end of it.
Fair, yeah, I agree. I don't think I've ever watched anything compilation and have been satisfied
No,
after watching
and that's
that.
saying something because me and him watched all 3 Lord of the Rings movies, the extended editions, all the way through in one sitting.
Good. That was a good weekend.
Right, completely satisfying because it brought back childhood memories and we got to see really cool stuff. Right, it was not a compilation.
Also, I think there's something to be said about the type of entertainment. You can always extract some type of sophisticated observation, whatever. Like someone
what
can
are
be
we going for here.
Well, no, I'm saying I think at a certain point, if you want to learn something from something, you will. If I want it from this conversation, if I wanted to take that Blake, you're a butthole, and that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
If going on a slight tangent, not really related, but whatever. But when you see a video online of some guy screaming, very rude racial slurs and rude racial things, and then you see some elderly woman deck him across the face, the guy saying the racist stuff, he's going to think he was attacked. He's going to think that he's the one that
he's the hero of his story,
or whatever. So it's all perspective, and I don't necessarily know why I brought that up, but
I agree that it's all perspective, but I think there should be a constant in us, and I think the world would be a much better place
if you think there should be a bar, a standard.
If we just strive to be better people, better to ourselves, better to our brothers and sisters, better fathers and children.
And that is something I hope I can instill in my future children. That because that's one thing that I fear, because I know myself. And I'm like, I want that. I want to do the stuff. I want to better myself. I want to learn more. I want to whatever, blah, 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 blah. But I know people who are doing the same thing every single day over and over and over again, haven't done anything else, haven't done and I'm like, I don't want that to happen to the
we talked about
just the people in my life. I want them to be better, but
we've talked about that. We've talked about this before. When you see somebody that hasn't changed a bit since high school, and you're like,
yeah, no,
what's wrong with them? Right.
And anything else you wanted to add on that?
Just find a goal.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, as long as it's not hurting anybody or causing bodily harm or just find a goal and pursue it. You'll be better for it.
I think even
you
more
honestly
simply
will
find a hobby.
Sure.
I think really that's the best. The best.
Start small.
Solution here. Yeah.
Start small. Go to the gym. Read a book. Just something like that. Save up money for this. Whatever. Just you need to have a goal. Something to strive for.
Yes. Sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off. No, continue. Okay. So delayed gratification. I brought it up, and let's talk about it because we need to talk about things that we bring up. So I think in comparison along the same going along the same lines of keeping to yourself and being very lazy, or not necessarily. I don't think it's necessarily lazy, but just choosing to accept consistency and choosing to accept to flow with the river. Mm-hmm. I think delaying gratification, as I mentioned before, that we live in this day and age where everything is super, super fast. Everything, the what we want can be at our fingers faster than anything before. If I want pizza, I can order it. If I want groceries, order it. If I want the biggest new toy on the market, boom, order it, come to my thing, and within 2 days, or hell, if I really wanted it, within the day, I could have it. Mm-hmm. And so I think, because we've given ourselves access to that, and because we're making it faster and faster, I think there is a lack of responsibility on parents' parts, and even just the community and families' parts, to regulate people not understanding delaying gratification. And I say regulate, but I mean more specifically like just teaching it, of understanding it. Because when a kid can just get now, everything I want to now, someone who's an authority who says no to that person,
they don't know how to handle it.
Exactly. And in spewing off what we were talking about with our Jonathan Haidt podcast, that impacts the child's development and moves forward, and what kind of world is that going to grow into? And so having the now everything information, you can get sort of flooded with all the people who are driven and all the people who are posting their successes online, and all these news articles about all these famous people, and you have all this access and this information. It's all shooting at you all right now. It can kind of stigmatize negatively or positively, depending on how you think of it, having that sort of non-moving lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I say non-moving, but like whatever, mediocre, quiet life, because when you're constantly seeing everyone's successes and you're constantly seeing all this information super fast and you're getting flooded with it, now you're thinking, well, shit, is like everybody doing something? Well, I need to do something, but I don't think that can necessarily be good all the time. I mean, obviously confidence, I think stress, and as we discussed before, having stress and being able to handle situations and handle direct one-on-one conflict is important.
Right.
But I think sometimes it could be a little excessive. What do you think?
Fair enough. But and if we go back like tens of thousands of years, it seems to me that we've been delaying gratification for most of our species' lives, in terms of we're gonna spend energy hunting down food, and it's gonna suck right now, but it's gonna get me food later.
Yeah.
Or if you want to take it from a biblical standpoint, the idea of delayed gratification in an afterlife, right? So it's not anything new to us. We've been.
But I think we're losing out on it. Almost.
I agree.
Okay.
It's come to a point where when you lack it's almost a perspective on your own future, and when you're living and you're not mindful of your own future, then it's very easy to accept the now, as opposed to be aware that I will be better for the struggles that I'm going through now. And we're absolutely missing out on it.
And I think we can even tie it to how everything is now super extreme in the political world. I think that because we want everything now, people are saying no, because change can't happen now, because I can't get what I want right now.
Right.
I'm going to explode. And, there are other factors that led to them exploding, but we're all playing with gasoline in a fucking candle store.
Right.
So what happens from here, I don't know. It's all related, and I just think it's all interesting. So
we just need to get back to, God, I don't even know where to start.
We need to go back when it was better.
No, we're living in the greatest time that we've
sure.
ever lived in.
The only reason why anyone would want to be in the past is because they're written. No, I'm just kidding. Not because they're racist. Nostalgia.
Or
that's
to see a cold concert or something like that.
But that's nostalgia.
No, I agree. Yeah.
That's under the category of nostalgia. That is the only reason why we think the past is cool, other than...
Or to learn from it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Other than for educational reasons and growing and expanding from that. But in regards to Uncle Bill saying that the 80s were the best time in the world.
No.
Uncle Bill was doing blow in the strip club every night. That's why it was the best. Anything else you want to add, Blake?
I don't know. I'm going to need to look into delayed gratification and see, where we can change. We can grow.
We can definitely continue this conversation. I just figured at least bring it up because it's related. Does anyone in the comments have experience with delayed gratification? Does anyone? What do you think about living a mediocre life? Honestly, I think living a hobbit's life would be really nice if I lived out in the wilderness and I didn't have taxes and I didn't have any sorts of financial burden. Plus, because it's like, I'm ranting as we're closing here. As a hobbit, you have no guaranteed protection or safety or security, so you can live that simplified life because there's no expectation from you. You can't do that now because the government expects stuff from you. I can't live on a beach in Tahiti because Uncle Sam's going to be like, hey, you owe me 20 cents in taxes. And I'm like, really? You're pathetic. Anyways, guys.
It seems like we're going back to what makes a society.
That is true. We already had that conversation. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to respond to anything that we said tonight or today or whenever you're listening to this, definitely let me know. I'd love to hear from what you thought, what your impacts are. Do you know any lazy people in your life? Do you know?
Don't use names.
Blake is lazy. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, night, or whenever you are watching. Peace out. This is the end song. It is now over.